Hi, it's Tina Lifford, your inner fitness champion. And today's in session is with a young lady that I am meeting for the very first time. She has agreed to us recording her session for public viewing, and she's dealing with something we all can relate to: what's next and why she feels a little off inside. So take a look and see if anything resonates for you and if there's something here that can support you. Hello, honey. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing so well. How are you?
I am doing so well as well.
I'm just shaking off nerves. Being nervous, but
you know, um, so that is a lovely, um, vulnerable, transparent statement. And I love that, you know, to meet someone for the first time and be connected with yourself enough to acknowledge what is going on.
hmm.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it speaks to it speaks to
When it
your
first,
having a relationship with yourself
hmm,
that is the kind of awareness that we can just build on or explore and leverage for any area of your life that you want to address.
love
Right?
that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good news. That's good to hear. I will admit, like that's one of the things when this presented this to me, and one of the first things that came up for me was like, I don't know how vulnerable I am comfortable with being, particularly just on camera on the internet. If it was you and I solo, I'm like, let's go to the white meat. But that is one of the things that a little bit of a concern. And I'm a pretty open person, and but I do have just some fears of like full vulnerability. But
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because we live in a society that is only now learning the power and the
mm,
necessity of vulnerability. And even more importantly, we're only learning now that we all are living the same life. The details are different,
right,
but we're all working with the same neural networks, the same humanness.
yes.
And as we begin to recognize that, there's just so much flourishing that's possible,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so uh, part of the reason that um, I'm interested in doing these kinds of sessions is because I do approach it and I look forward to putting into the world the notion that we are all living the same life with different details, with nuanced details.
Yeah.
So,
If I think if we all had that understanding, that would change so much if we really took that to heart, right?
yeah. And so I'm going to go one step further and say, as a way of us beginning to work with you specifically, is there is nothing you could say or anyone else about your life, about your struggles, about any interior experience that millions, if not billions of people already know,
Wow. Wow.
right?
You're not supposed to get me like this soon. We've only been on for a couple minutes. Yes. Wow. That's powerful. I,
And what gets you about that?
what gets me about that? Yeah. I just, some of the things that, again, just I don't even know what we're really going to be discussing, but just some of the things that come up as like little fears of like, well, I don't want to reveal too much, but just really thinking through like, yeah, millions and billions probably of people have had the same experiences that I've had, have felt the same things that I have. And yes, I know that vulnerability is power, and sharing stories, sharing is powerful, and it's connecting and it's healing for everybody. And so I know that. So yeah, it was just one of those like, I feel that right here, but still have reservations, but
Yes, of
I
course.
but I know the truth of it. And yes, you speak it so clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have reservations because as we work together, you'll learn that I work from a framework that acknowledges that inside of us are three selves. Most of the time, we are looking in the mirror, and when we think of ourselves, we think of ourselves as this monolithic thing.
Mm.
But if we take the microscope and zoom in, we will see that there's a part of us that operates from what I call the surviving self. That self is in worry, doubt, and fear.
Yeah.
That self knows that fight, flight, or freeze mode. That self others and is at war even when there's no opponent.
Right.
Have you ever been driving in your car and all of a sudden you recognize all the war that's going on in your mind?
Oh yeah, I speak it. I'll be in the car arguing out loud by myself.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the surviving self. And we all have that aspect of us. And then I am certain that you also know the part of you that hopes and dreams, and that when you think in terms of what's possible for your life, you become more elevated, you become more courageous, more open, you feel less vulnerable, meaning less at risk,
Mhm.
right? Do you know that part of yourself?
Absolutely do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the part that really has supported you. Well, all aspects of ourselves supports our moving forward if we use it for that reason,
Mhm.
with that in mind. And then there's so that's the surviving self, the thriving self,
Mhm. Okay.
and then the infinite self.
Mm.
And the infinite self, I know you know this aspect of you as well. Have there been moments in your life where you just know? You have
Oh,
an intuition or a gut feeling?
oh
You,
yeah.
right? You feel safe and capable even when your circumstances don't necessarily make sense for that feeling.
Mm.
You feel a sense of peace wash over you that lets you know it's all going to be okay. Have you had that experience?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those
So we,
favorites. Yeah.
yeah. So we have these three very active um, aspects. And when we are aware that we have these three aspects, they make a whole self.
Mm.
And what we have the opportunity and responsibility to do is to begin to truly see the characteristics and the natural behavior of each aspect of ourselves so that we can work with ourselves more intentionally and deliberately. And so I would love to start by you telling me what is the most important thing that you can think of that I should know about you?
Mm. Um, I would say I am a very feeling sensitive, empathetic, um, creative individual who passionately loves my family, my friends, my partner. Um, and I know that I have something to give to this world, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I could feel every word that you said.
Mm.
And the question that popped in my mind is, and how are you with honoring and trusting everything that you just said?
I feel very aligned with all of that. However, I know that the space that I've been in for the last few years, something is amiss in terms of kind of figuring out what I should be doing. Like, I don't think it doesn't seem like to me that it should be taking this long to figure it out. So there's something amiss in terms of when I say what I'm supposed to be giving to the world and like sort of purpose, I suppose. Um, there's something in there that has to do with me that I think is blocking that. So I don't feel like when I say that I have, that there's, I want to use my gifts to serve and to share. I think that there's an element of not truly trusting that, believing that, or something is missing in there, I believe.
Mhm.
Everything else, 1000% I'm aligned with and stand behind that. That's the missing piece for me right now.
So what I feel like I'm hearing you say is that you're in a place where um, what you feel is possible inside of your being,
Mm,
what is happening in your world right this moment, don't feel aligned.
yes.
And there is judgment about that.
Absolute. Some serious, yes. Yes, I am judging it harshly daily. Long time.
Okay,
I'm
yay, yay. So would you be willing to just say out loud, I am judging myself for where I am?
I didn't want to cry, but yes, I am. I am judging myself for where I am.
Yeah. And why might it be important for you to state that?
Well, I mean, there is definitely power in speaking something out loud. But just and then also hearing it. So hearing it from myself in my voice, and to realize, yeah, that's a to be judging yourself. I mean, judgment,
Feels awful.
not nice.
It feels awful. And it, in terms of the three selves, it moves us into the surviving self. And when we are in the surviving self, because of its natural characteristics, we feel less capable. We are less connected to our sense of possibility. We are literally scrambling in some way and feeling like we're flailing.
Mm.
Can you relate to any of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, another really important reason to state where you are is that two powerful things happen.
Mm.
Number one is what you can see, you can change, right? Once you see it, you can create a roadmap that helps you move beyond it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that when you tell yourself the truth, it eliminates all of the dodging and running and avoiding that we are doing to keep from telling ourselves the truth, to keep from feeling the discomfort of the truth. And so all of that energy becomes available for you,
Mm-hmm.
for you to now strategically and intentionally and deliberately begin to think about what's possible. Because the energy has been taken from the fight, where the surviving self, that reptilian brain, when we're in fight, flight, or freeze mode, literally, physiologically, everything sort of shuts down and we lose access to our ability to think.
Yeah.
Because we're running.
Right.
Because we're scared.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a little tool that I encourage you to walk away with. It doesn't matter if you tell the truth to anyone else right this moment in your life. But the moment you stop and say, this is where I am, this is what I'm feeling, you literally make room for the next step, for what's possible. So again, good for you.
Taking a couple.
And you can definitely write notes for yourself if that's helpful. All right. So let's explore the judgment, right? So what can you share with me about this judgment of yourself? What are you telling yourself should be that isn't?
So, just a little background. I've my entire life from the time I was a little girl, I've always just been passionate about different things that I'm doing. When I was young, dancing, singing, acting, cheerleading, all the things, gymnastics, all the things that I did, I was all about it. Um, and I've been that way throughout. There've been little pockets of time when I've, just been working a job that I wasn't passionate about, briefly, but I've followed passion for a long time and feeling very like strong guidance that I'm driven in a certain direction. And I have felt that way for a long time. I used to act. I used to be an actress. Well, as a friend told me, like, you're never not an actress. You're not currently seeking bookings and auditioning and stuff. But I acted, and I was very, very, very passionate about that for a very long time. And then there came a point in life where I started to feel like I fell out of alignment with that. And because of my prior experience in life, I assumed that once I got pretty clear, yeah, I don't think this is it for me. I don't think this is the way that I'm supposed to, engage with the world and share my gifts with the world. I was pretty sure that the next thing would come up for me, that the next thing would present itself, and I would have a new direction that I'm charging after. And it has been year after year after year after year after year now, just of like, where is the next thing that I can go for, that I'm throwing myself into? Where is it? Why hasn't it come up for me? Why don't I know where I'm going? And so that I just feel like I'm living sort of directionless almost. I mean, I'm working, and I'm grateful for the work that I do. I'm a copywriter now, doing marketing, copywriting, and I do some voiceover work. And I work from home. I create my own schedule. I can work from anywhere in the world, and I'm very grateful for that. But it's not purposeful for me. And I know a lot of people feel that, purpose and career don't have to be the same thing. For me, it's kind of really important that it is. And so I'm judging myself, because I'm like, you're just existing. You're not really using what you have to serve and to give this world while you're here.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, Nico. I do. And so there's like all these different directions that we could go in, because as a creative, I feel like I understand, the ache. And when you feel like there is something bigger inside, how do you identify it, and how do you call it forth?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so with that said, I think that I'd love to explore for just a moment the notion of purpose. So can you define for me what purpose is?
I would say, I guess I relate it to just what I'm here to do. Like I believe that we all have been gifted with our gifts and our talents and our natural abilities. And I believe that we're all supposed to kind of use them to make the world, to serve the world in some way, shape, or form. But I really like the idea of using the things that we're naturally good at, that just are within us innately. And so, yeah, that's what purpose is for me. It's like using what I have to serve and to kind of leave things a little better than before I was here.
Okay. So
You're making me I do understand that's my definition, and that's
yeah. And your definition is what matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your definition is what matters. And our lives are powered by our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs.
Mhm.
So if you believe that, if you believe in that definition of purpose, that matters,
Yeah.
right?
That's
It
what I'm judging myself against. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and what's interesting is that you're judging yourself against an idea that's a valid idea. I think a lot of people feel that way. I think we all want to get up in the morning and pour ourselves into a direction for all of the wonderful reasons that you stated. We want to know that we're adding value. We want to do what is ours to do. And so if we go back to the notion of the three selves,
Mhm.
right? The infinite self is that place that holds not just our personal wisdom, but our wisdom that is connected to that is the wisdom and knowing of the universe, right? We are but an extension of that thing that powers all that we see and can't see. So there's a connection there. And so the first thought that comes to my mind is, do you journal?
I journal sort of periodically. I'm
Oh,
in and out of journaling. I haven't for quite some time.
okay. So earlier we were talking about the power of hearing yourself,
Yeah.
right? Hearing yourself speak the truth to yourself,
Yeah.
the benefits that come with that, right? So I'm going to encourage you in this patch of twisting and turning and trying to find yourself, that you spend more time talking to yourself or with yourself. Your journal is going to help you do that. And here's a question that I encourage you to take to your journal. And the question is, what is mine to do?
Love that.
Isn't that simple? Isn't that simple?
Yeah. That's good.
Now, let's talk about why asking that question can be powerful. So I'm going to ask you, why might that be powerful or be helpful?
Well, I definitely believe in just, yeah, asking asking the right questions, because you ask a question and an answer will come up. An answer will come. And so, yeah, that's why it's important to ask the right questions, because you'll get an answer for the wrong ones as well.
That's right. That's right. That's
Um,
right.
yeah. And so I haven't asked myself in those exact words, but I have done, this has been years. So I've done quite a bit of introspection and inquiry within myself. And I have some answers for that, but just no clear vision, like,
Okay. So Have you ever experienced like wanting an answer or having a question and ruminating on it and then turning the TV on or getting a phone call and there's guidance or answers in those random moments?
I love that.
Hmm?
Absolutely. I love that so much.
Right?
Mm.
So that's the importance of asking the question.
Mm.
That's the importance of letting yourself be with the question. And you point out something that is so critical. How you ask the question and how you are with yourself while you're questioning is key. So if you are asking and judging, so if you're in your surviving self saying, there's something wrong here, there's something wrong here, you know, I'm not getting what I want. I don't even know what I want. There's something wrong. There's something. Yeah, you might be asking, what is mine to do?
Right.
But underneath that, what's really driving the energy and the connection with yourself is the notion that there's a problem here, that I'm left out in some way, that for whatever the reason, the universe isn't working with me.
Yeah.
Now you've just identified key beliefs that are underneath this angst. Key beliefs, which means the angst aligns with the belief. Does that make sense?
Right. So there is alignment, but it's just with the wrong thing.
It's aligned with the energy that you are working from and the beliefs that you are working with. But you haven't told yourself the truth about your energy and your disbelief. Now, I don't want to hand you that, but I am going to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, is there resonance? 10 being, yep, that's exactly how I feel or I see it.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're asking me, because I'm really processing that the issue is the angst, because my belief is that something is wrong when truly there's nothing, if nothing is wrong, there's nothing wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Resonates in about a 15.
Yeah. And you get to let yourself off the hook. So just take a deep breath. Ooh, child. And let yourself off the hook.
Wow, that feels strange.
Tell me.
Well, it's almost like, well, so then what? If there's nothing wrong, well, then what? Then what is there?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question.
Wow.
It's a fantastic question because before we can be in the relationship that we most desire with our purpose, We have to be in a growing relationship with ourself. And so being able to see where we default unconsciously to the behaviors of the surviving self is really important. Because then you can go, oh, I'm saying,
Right.
but I'm over here actually living and feeling a different reality.
Right. Right.
And when you see it, you can change it. But you can't change it if you don't know that's the water or the air you're breathing.
Yeah, if that script is just running in the background, then yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So what all of us, the main journey that we all are on or can be on, because I don't want to dictate, what someone should do with their life. But the most important purpose is for you to align with yourself so that who you are and what you say and how you can respond fits
Mm-hmm.
and is going in the direction that you want to go. And you can do that, just based upon this time that we've spent together so far in doing 3 really simple things. Caring about yourself, knowing that time with yourself matters, wanting to spend time with yourself consciously means that you get to ask yourself what I call effective and empowering questions. I'll come back to that in a second. Tell yourself the truth about where you are and listen to yourself. When you listen to yourself, you get to see and hear whether the narrative that is running in your mind is the voice of the surviving self who, oh, by the way, is only interested in what it already knows. Because it's just trying to survive. Bringing in a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
You talking about going over there? I don't know nothing about over there.
Right.
Because I don't know anything about over there. I like where we are. So we're just going to stay right here because we know this. Okay. It may not be comfortable. Doesn't matter. We know it. We can survive this.
Yeah.
We can get to the next day doing this. So your relationship with yourself has the opportunity to grow in a way that helps you help the surviving self to experience more of its ability to thrive.
Mm. It's like healing that. Mm.
Yes.
Would you repeat the 3 things again?
Yes. So it is acknowledging yourself and spending time with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It is telling yourself the truth about where you are, what you feel without any judgment. And then asking effective and empowering questions to help you move forward. And I'll tell you that effective and empowering questions, I've trademarked EEQs, effective and empowering questions. And the thing about effective and empowering questions is that when you ask an effective and empowering question, the answer to the question is going to take you in the direction that you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are asking why questions.
Right.
Why don't I have what I want? Why can't I find my purpose? What's wrong with me?
Right.
You know, why is it that everybody else is, living the life of their dreams and I'm over here? So in an apples to apples way, if you ask, why does this keep happening to me? Well, the answer is going to be all the reasons why.
Yeah.
Right? But what you really want to know is,
how can I?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like?
Yes.
How must I grow?
Mm-hmm.
What must I do?
I love that.
What must I see?
What must I do? That's a great.
Now let's do a little exercise, okay? I'm going to ask you to, use a why statement
Mm-hmm.
that we've just talked about being, not the direct route to where you want to go. I'm going to ask you to state a why statement, but check inside of yourself first right now to just get a sense of yourself, an awareness of your internal feelings and state. And then ask yourself a why question out loud.
Okay. Why is it so hard for me and easy for everyone else?
Now check inside and just note what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a little snapshot of what that feels like. And now shake, clear your energy, clear your aura. Yeah, right? And ask now a what, where, or how question that supports you going where you want to go.
What are some ways that I can I don't know, what are some ways that I can
Let me try one on for you.
Okay.
How can this be easier?
Simple. How can this be? Yeah.
So ask yourself that, take note of your internal space and then ask that question of yourself out loud.
How can this be easier?
Say it again.
How can this be easier?
Now, if you compare the inner state between the two questions, is there any difference?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, with the first question, I literally can feel heaviness. I feel weight, and I feel a lot of what I feel like in my solar plexus area. So like I feel weighted. It feels yeah, it's kind of like woe is me energy.
Stuck.
Yeah. With the second question, it's the energy feels light. It feels it's a lifting energy, and instantly I feel my wheels start turning and processing. Well, how can it be? How? Like, let's, and
Yeah. So you moved into curiosity as
yes.
opposed to judgment.
Mm-hmm.
You moved into, and the question helped you to be open to an answer
Yes. 100%.
instead of locked in a narrative that had you left out of your dream.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. You have
And
a,
just,
mhm.
go ahead.
I'll say, do you have a book of questions?
I actually have a book that I really encourage you to pick up and start reading while we are doing this work. It is a book of 11 questions.
Really?
It is. It is. Each chapter is a question.
Oh, wow.
And and what we are doing is shoring up, redesigning, and strengthening your relationship with yourself. Everything that you want lives within your effort and potentiality. I love sharing the analogy that, the universe started as a pinprick. And everything that we have seen and all that we have yet to see that is a part of this cosmos has expanded
Mm.
from that pinprick. Everything, the houses and trees that I'm looking at, this freeway system, this computer, all of that was already tucked inside as potential. You have not only the potentiality of your life, but you are the portal through which it can emerge. So it's about being in relationship with yourself in a way that supports you emerging. You, the whole you, as opposed to these narratives that we as human beings accumulate unwittingly, without knowing that we're picking up a bunch of lies, misinformation, misconceptions And then we're holding on to them like they are truths.
Yeah.
Let me talk just a little bit more about the EEQ, an effective and empowering question. You want to begin to ask questions that will lead to the answer that you want. Not the specific answer, because your mind can't conceive of all that is in your potentiality.
Mm.
Science has been trying to crack the code on the universe forever. You can't conceive all of what's in there because the finite mind cannot conceive the infinite.
Right.
But we can enjoy that part of ourselves and keep expanding like the universe into the more that we are, the more that is possible.
Yeah.
And if that resonates, go ahead. What were you about to say?
I was, well, I think you've already started down that path. I was going to say, as in addition to journaling, if there are any other tools that you like to use.
Yeah. So between now and the next time we chat,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to encourage you to do 2 or 3 things. They'll come to me as I'll know the number as I speak them out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the most important thing for us to do is to spend quality time with ourselves. That means spending quality time with our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, and reactions.
Wow.
I'm not talking about drinking tea. I'm not talking about spas. All of those things are lovely, and our bodies and minds, can be refreshed from them. But to transform our lives means spending quality time with our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions, and reactions. So just be with yourself. Driving in your car, state how you are feeling, not with judgment, not with attachment. But if you've got angst going on inside of you, just name it. There's a lot of angst going on here. Got a lot of angst going on here. Because when we name it, we get clear about it and we stop dancing with it. And then speak to what you want. Okay, how can I work through this angst? What might this feeling have to share with me? Be in relationship with it so that it can serve you. Because if it's present, it is speaking to how it was born.
Yeah.
Whether we are conscious of it or not. And again, I encourage you specifically to journal while you're in this period of uncertainty. Journal because it gives you time with yourself, that quality time that we're talking about. When you give time to yourself, you send a message to yourself that says you matter.
Mm-hmm.
You send an intention about how you want to be and feel. So journaling is powerful. Go ahead.
I was like, what is so interesting is that I told you I've been in and out with journaling. It's always sort of under a certain level of almost duress with me, because from the time that I was a child, I have always really disliked writing. I was always very good at it, but I was very frustrated all the time with writing. And I remember my teachers, like my fourth grade teachers, like, you were an amazing writer. Oh, you should write more. Like, they would always encourage me, but I would be up all night crying, tears, frustrated writing. Now, my career, I'm a writer. I'm frustrated. Sometimes I just don't want to write. And that's how I always feel when I get the message that, like, oh, you probably need to start journaling again. There's times in life where I just I know what it does for me, and I feel so like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to write.
Let me ask you this question. Just, I ask you to respond from your gut. Don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you resist writing because you want a different purpose?
I don't think so. I don't think that it's that I would love, I think it is so, I don't know, it feels so taxing on every system in my body. And that's how I felt, like I said, when I was a child and I would write for school and write these stories. And my teacher would be like, A plus, plus, plus. You are so great. You're a wonderful writer. But it took so much out of me that I'm like, it just, and that's, I still, with my, corporate professional writing that I do now, it's, a little less, but sometimes I'm like, I just don't have any more. I am a communicator. I love communication, but this is a thought that actually just recently in the past week, as I was thinking about speaking with you, and I've been asking myself questions and all of that. And one of the things came up, it's like, I'm a communicator, and part of my purpose, I believe, is in communication, but I'm like, maybe in a different way than writing, maybe speaking, maybe using my actual voice as opposed to making it come through my hand.
Got it. So what's a EEQ that you can formulate regarding being a communicator?
Effective and empowered. Empowering question.
It just means asking a what, where, how question versus asking a why question, or a how from disbelief and judgment.
Well, I guess, what are some ways that, I can use communication as, part of my purpose, or is that the...
May I help you?
Please.
May I throw something out?
Yes, please.
How can I flourish as a communicator?
Oh, you do that very well. See that? Yeah.
Can I change lives?
What's that?
How can I change lives as a communicator? What are the gifts that I am to share with the world through communicating?
See, part of it is even just being able to formulate that question. That's like a big, because again, when you ask me, like, what's the question? My question ends flat. Like, I'm like, the questions that you're giving me, I'm like, oh, wow, that
They resonate.
they resonate. It feels like
Yes.
an open door with those questions.
That is so important for you to see because they come from the thriving part of ourselves that is open and moving forward. That is about the nature of the universe, which is to grow and expand.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically going, okay, use me.
Yeah.
Opposed to the surviving self is always like,
Yeah.
right?
Back off.
Yeah. You know? So I think maybe we can close today's session there. If you have a final question about any homework or how to formulate the EEQ, I'm happy to answer that. But I think that you have enough to pay attention to,
Yes.
right? You want to take note of the energy from which you are in relationship with yourself. When you were in your car, catch your mind grinding, begin to see and recognize what your surviving self habits are.
Yeah.
Be mindful of thinking about what you want or moving forward from the open, vulnerable, even excited, with a sense of possibility self.
Mm-hmm.
And really important, know that we are connected to all of the answers through the infinite self. So when we are in conscious, honest, and open relationship with ourselves, by telling ourselves the truth and asking effective and empowering questions, we are working with a energy, a mind, a possibility that is far greater than ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I have quite a bit, even just, I'm going to start journaling again. Some of these questions are great, just to start working with those. And yeah, like you said, just being aware in the moment of and spending time, just taking time. I need to be just more conscious of that right now, just spending time with myself. And
Yes.
yeah.
Every second that is intentionally offered to yourself sends the message to the deepest part of you that says you matter to yourself. The name of my book is The Little Book of Big Lies. The Little Book of Big Lies. It's also on Audible.
Okay.
Now, I recommend, people really love listening to it, but I highly recommend that you read it.
Okay.
Because you the listening experience, it's a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a book that you're going to come back to many times.
Okay.
So what I tend to do is I'll buy an Audible book and listen in my car and take note of the places where I want to go to in the book when I have time and just make little notes.
Okay.
But that book, when you start reading it, you will know that that book is key
So, wow.
to developing the relationship with self that
Great.
takes you where you want to go.
Love it. I will order it right now.
All right. Please tell me your experience thus from today's session.
I it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. It's always surprising to me that like there are certain things that I can know that I know, but hearing it from you, hearing it, I don't know, it processes differently. It hits differently. It speaks differently. And um so yeah, it's been really, really good. I'm so grateful. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. I think that this is one of those examples of the fact that we are in relationship with an infinite self. We must pay attention to those little tiny moments that are supporting our lives so that we can believe that they are operating when we find ourselves in disbelief.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things,
Whole universe behind you, girl. You've got a whole universe behind you. It's gone out, did this
around
thing,
the world.
found me, and then pulled us together.
It's
That's personal power that you should be or can be excited about.
wow. Thank you for that. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All
It's
right.
a pleasure. I appreciate you.
Fantastic. I appreciate you, and we will see you again soon.
Okay.
Well, she was vulnerable, willing, and that means open. Okay, so that's today's in session. I hope there was something in it that supports you and that you'll join me here for the next in session.